If you're watching this video, it's likely that someone told you that you need to be trading Forex and that you can make a ton of money with Forex. It's probably likely that someone was driving a Lamborghini that they rented. Okay, this video is not about that. This is no holds barred, no fluff. We're just going to show you what Forex is and how people are making and losing money with Forex. Let's hop over to the whiteboard. Okay, so I'm going to assume you've heard of the stock market. Most of us have heard about that people that make millions of dollars in the stock market, right? I'm also going to assume you've heard of Apple. So let's say 20 years ago, Apple's a small company, right? You may know somebody that bought some Apple stock. They're like, this company's awesome. I'm going to buy some Apple stock. It's only $1 a share, right? So Apple stock was $1 a share. So they bought the Apple stock for $1 a share. Well, guess what? Like 10 years later, Apple stock was worth hundreds of dollars. Let's say it was worth $100 a share 10 years later, okay? So now Apple stock, right, is worth $100 per share. What does that mean? That means that you can sell your your shares you bought for $1 for $100, and you made a lot of money. Okay, so you made 100x your money, right? You 100 times your money because every share you bought for $1 is now worth $100 when you sell it. Now we'll talk about how that pertains to Forex, because Forex is this exact same concept, except with Forex we are doing this with money. Okay, we're doing it with countries' currencies. Let's talk about how that all works here. Okay, we can see this, right? So we've got the US dollar, right? That's the currency that I currently have in my wallet. That's where I live, US dollar. If you live in Europe, you're not using US dollar. You're using a euro, okay? And if you've ever traveled, you know that there's an exchange rate between those two, right? Like if I want to go to Europe, I've got to get some euros. And 100 US dollars is not worth 100 euros, okay? So what's going to happen is there's actually an exchange rate of, let's pretend the exchange rate right now, let's pretend it was 1-to-1. It's not. Let's pretend the exchange rate was 1-to-1, okay? So 100 US dollars equals 100 euros, okay? So I go to Europe, I make the exchange, I give them $100, and they give me 100 euros. Cool, not a big deal. But let's say things happen, things change while I'm in Europe. I don't spend any of my money, but the exchange rate does change. Okay, so we'll go back to these euros here, and we'll say the euro, let's say 1 US dollar, now equals 2 euros, okay? 2 euros. Okay, so I have 100 euros that I exchanged. I originally had $100, now I have 100 euros, and now 1 US dollar is worth 2 euros, which means that 1 euro is only worth half of a US dollar, okay? So when I go back to exchange that, I'm gonna say, hey, can I have my $100 in cash back? And they're gonna say, no, the exchange rate changed, and now each of your euros is only worth 50 cents, which means you're only gonna get 50 bucks back, okay? That's how much I ended up with. I lost money, okay? Now the same thing can gain money, right? That's what Forex trading is. We try to do it the reverse, and we try to have 1 euro be worth 2 US dollars at the end so that we double our money instead of half our money, okay? So that's all Forex trading is. The only difference is we don't do this like physically, right? Like I don't go to Europe and hand someone a $100 bill and have it all changed. It's all done online through what's called brokers. And we're gonna dive in and kind of talk about that a little bit. Okay, so what you're seeing on my screen is you're seeing a trading software called MetaTrader where I do all my trading, okay? We're gonna talk about basically how this works. How do people make these buying and selling decisions, okay? So we know that we are buying and selling money. We know we're using an online broker to facilitate that transaction, right? To find somebody out there that has, euros that's willing to exchange them for our US dollars. And it's all instantaneous online, right? Now, well, how is that decision made, right? And the way the decision is made is we actually look for what's called patterns, okay? Or it's called technical analysis. But what we're looking for is we're looking for we're looking on charts of price changes, and we're trying to establish a pattern in there where we say, hey, it looks like the euro and US dollar exchange rate kind of has a pattern for how it ebbs and flows. So for example, if you look on this chart, this is a month-long chart. You can see this chart takes us from the 2nd of March all the way to the 2nd of April. So it's 1 month long. This is the exchange rate between the euro and the US dollar, okay? And you can see right here, it's over here, like about a month ago, 1 US dollar or 1 euro was $1.14, was worth $1.14 in US dollars, okay? So it was worth a little more, okay? But over time, that slowly dropped. And so just a few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, €1 was worth $1.06. Okay, so the value of the euro dropped. You can see it going down in relation to the US dollar. Okay, that's what this chart is telling us. But if you look here, it didn't just drop like one straight line, right? It kind of bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced and bounced. And not only did it bounce, but there seems to be a pattern to the bounce. Watch this. Let's just look at this example because I was just drawing this out. If you look at this line right here, it seems like as the euro is losing value, it's hitting that line and it's bouncing, and then it's going up to that line, and then it's dropping. It's bouncing off the top line, and then it's bouncing off that line, right? So what that means is we can buy right here, we can buy some euros because we think, hey, for at least the short term, for a period of a day or a few hours, the value of the euro looks like it's about to rise. In the long term, it's definitely going down, but it's rising in the long term, in the short term. And then when it gets to here, we can say, holy cow, we're going to sell right here because it looks like every time it hits this line that I've drawn, it's starting to lose value again. Okay, and we can do that on each of these points. Okay. And in fact, I probably should have bought right there, but I wasn't doing trading. And so that's all we're doing. This is one of many patterns, but we're looking for patterns like that. And we're buying and selling the Forex based on what we see in these patterns, okay? We don't have to be right 100% of the time. We need to be right more than half the time when we're profitable. In fact, no one is right 100% of the time, okay? But you can tell by this chart, there absolutely are patterns. I could draw a line right here. I could draw a line right there, right? I could draw a little line coming in right here, a little line coming in right here. And you can see like this was kind of a crazy few weeks, this coronavirus, rampage through the world. But this is all Forex traders are doing, okay? They're looking here and they're saying, okay, there's a pattern, and then they're buying and selling. Now, you need to understand this is harder than it looks, okay? Like it kind of looks easy on this chart, and I get that. You've got to have a lot of things in place. You've got to have a system for knowing when to buy and sell, okay? A few patterns that you like and a system for knowing when to do it. You've got to know when to get out, when to know you're wrong, okay? When to accept that you've messed up and that your trade is not correct and you need to get out before you lose a lot of money, okay? Now, the way I do all this is I use what's called, I use a system. And I have a system that basically establishes these patterns for me and buys for me and does most of this like legwork for me, okay? There's a link down below. All you gotta do is put in your email address and I'll show you the whole system that I'm talking about here for the cost of an email address. And you can see how I've been able to be profitable with Forex over the long run without being like the most masterful trader on planet Earth, okay? So that's the link down in the description. You're interested in Forex, you should probably watch the next video. We're going to be pumping out a lot of Forex videos over the next few weeks. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember, subscribe if you feel like you learned something.